So, welcome back to Come With Us, because come with us wherever we are.
With Kimberly and Aaron. Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
We should end this way.
Yeah.
Jeez, that'd be great. Okay, so today we're going to talk about like supplies and things that you're going to need, especially in Latvia. So we're talking, this is Latvia specific. So when we travel on to other countries and stuff, you'll get it. You'll get it. Okay. So, supplies. Really, the next day after you've unpacked everything, you're like, okay, what do we actually need? So, there were a few things that we decided we really needed. But one thing to remember in Europe, a lot of places in Europe, is to bring your own bags. And, like, we collect bags everywhere. Of course, everybody loves a good tote bag here. But really, bags are a big thing here. In fact, some places, like in some states, really are that you can't even buy a bag.
California.
But like Washington State, you bring your own bags. But yes, you can buy a bag. So some place like Latvia, you can buy a bag if you don't bring your own bag. But like I know France and Germany, they don't offer. So basically, yeah, bring your own bag. So we've found different places, and so a couple different stores that are like you're looking for grocery stores. There's always usually a mini version of something. So Maxima and Remy have minis.
They also have hypers.
Yeah. So then there's Super or Maxima with 2 X's, or there's Maxima with 3 X's, and it's like the Hyper Remy.
Yep.
So it's kind of a bigger version.
But they're not that much bigger. They're not like a Super Walmart.
Nobody wants that. Okay. Okay. So, like the closest mini Remy to us really is in Galleria Mall, but the closest Hyper Remy is like what, less
2 blocks away.
Yeah, it's like not far at all, and that's next to Pet City, by the way. So if you have a Pet City, they also have a vet there. If you want something bigger, like kind of more a warehousey kind of place, is Depot is the place to go. And so the thing is, you can get like the discount cards at all of these places, kind of like we have in the States. So for the address, we used our Airbnb address, and because we're here for like 3 months.
Our telephone numbers don't work.
No.
Because a lot of these cards that we're requesting, they require that the area code is specific. So the 801 or the, what is it, +1? It's +1 for the United States. It doesn't even offer you that as a choice. So you pick one. I use like +3 or whatever, and then put in my number. Sometimes I have to use one less or one more or whatever else.
I just use Latvia, and then I just put in, but we had to take off a couple of my numbers at the end because their numbers here are only like 8 numbers. So I had to take off like the last 2 numbers of my.
But our emails are correct, so they can still connect with us by email.
Yeah, so there's different ways you can do it. So a couple other things too when you're looking at supplies, like Aaron has a CPAP machine. And if you're going to use water, you need to use distilled water so it doesn't get that buildup. But the problem is, in Latvia, distilled water is hard to find. And when you do find it at the depot, because you're not going to find it at the pharmacy or the grocery store, any other place, because most water here is either with gas or natural gas. That means bubbles or no bubbles, okay? Sparkling water or not. So you can say gas or still or no gas, whatever. But the distilled water...
It's meant for cars. In fact, it's like electronically charged for cars. In fact, it'll say, if you read the distilled water, it'll say, good for, whatever. It'll have a list of different car options, but then it'll say, not meant for medical use. So I'm not going to try something that has been electronically charged for a car that's meant for me.
So luckily, with a lot of CPAP machines, you don't have to use water.
So I haven't been using water at all.
Yeah. And and CPAP machines, by the way, if you have a snorer in your relationship, they need a CPAP.
Or somebody with sleep apnea. Yeah.
You're right.
So you could use regular water. My concern is that as the water evaporates, as I use it, it's going to leave chemical deposits. And so for now, until I figure something out, maybe I'll never figure something out, I don't know. But for now, I'm just using it without water.
So if you want to open a bank account in Latvia, they do require a residence, which is going to be difficult to get. So I'd already told Aaron that, but he didn't listen to me.
But it does turn out that there are some other EU countries that are more foreigner friendly, where you can open up a bank account with minimal information, a passport, a personal ID, and it's maybe even a social security. But in Latvia, they do not seem to be super American friendly, and so maybe it's just too much work.
It's not really American friendly. As we're looking at anti-money laundering laws.
So some banks are just less willing to put in the extra time to make sure that the money is not money laundered.
So a couple things too, like if you decide to order from Amazon, make sure that they, deliver to Latvia, but if they do, make sure that the shipping cost isn't 3 times the price of the thing you're trying to order. Because they do actually deliver in Latvia, but it is kind of a thing to make sure on that end. But you could just order from like Amazon.eu or from DE, which is, Germany. Things in the EU are going to be cheaper than if they have to ship it from the States. So
some things we found that they'll deliver for fairly cheap. We looked at some furniture that turned out to be significantly more expensive, and so that certainly wouldn't be worth it. Go to the depot to get furniture. But you can find some other things that can be delivered, vitamins or whatever else that are more reasonable.
So a lot of places, at least Airbnbs that I've found, like to use the coffee pods. I'm not a big fan of those personally. So the Airbnb does have the coffee pods. I don't love them. It's not my jam, but we do have a French press here, which is great, but I don't want to use that every single time I want to make coffee. I use it for tea actually more. But so we actually went and bought like a really cheap little coffee pot. No big deal if we're going to move on, and if we don't take it, it's not a big loss or anything. Another thing to look for, of course, is converters. You do want to have those converters for your appliances. Because of the fact that, U.S. plugs are very different from European. So you get the converters, and if not, they actually have, different converters that you can use that they're just plug in that will still like charge your phone and things like that you can plug in. And then...
So there's 2 things you should consider. So there's an adapter that will change from an American plug to or a foreign European plug to an American plug, but then there's a converter that will change from the 110 to the 220. And so most of the things right now, I mean, I know that my grandparents used to complain that when they went abroad that they would plug in their ironer with
their ironer?
Their iron. I don't know. Their what do you call the curler or whatever else?
Curling iron.
Curling iron. Well, I was close. A curling iron. Okay. They'd plug in the curling iron, and then it would fry it. It would absolutely fry it because they had the adapter but not the converter. And so for most things, like with our cell phones and our computers, right now, most of those things are adaptable both ways. So you don't have to worry about that. But that is something that if it is an older thing, I know my daughter has a Samovar that is, I think it was 1992, where the converter really would matter. So, just as far as older appliances, just be aware of that.
Yeah. So a couple things to like that Remy Hyper is one of our favorite things to buy there. We call them toasties, but it's little teeny garlic toasts. Like The Latvians do this, and it's so freaking delicious.
With,
I would show you one, but we just
garlic
like ate
butter,
them all.
It's delicious.
And it's like this dark, it's their dark rye bread, and they put like garlic and butter, and you can just scoop them up, put them in a bag, and take them home and eat them. But what I love about like here in Latvia is they can put them out and they're out in the open, so you can't really, they're not covered. But nobody's coming by and picking up one with their hands. Like their hands aren't going in at all. I freaking love that I can just trust that these are going to be good. So yeah, they're delicious. They're a little addicting. Probably not great for us, but you only live once. And yeah, so that's something at the Remy Hyper we really like to get.
Yeah, it's absolutely delicious. I think we're hitting the mark. So we're going to end this here. We hope you enjoyed this video, and
hope it was helpful.
Yep, we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, see ya.
Okay, bye.